Oh, hi. Great to see you. Welcome back to this week's edition of Then We Eat. On this week's edition, we'll be making bacon and sausage stuffed potato loaf. Now, the first thing we need to do is we need to get our potatoes boiling. So you're going to need to start with 4 russet potatoes. This is a russet potato that I haven't peeled. I would consider this somewhere between a medium and a very small large. This one I would consider a little bit over a large potato. So I'm using 3 this size. If you have this size potato, I would recommend using 4 or 5 of them. So let's get the potatoes cut. So you want to cut them into small cubes. I'm just going to cut it in half. And then I'm going to make some cubes out of it. About that size. And we'll get them in some water to boil. I'll prepare the rest of the potatoes, get them in the water, and I'll start to boil them, and we'll be back when we start to cook the bacon and the sausage. So the next thing we need to do is prepare our bacon. I've got a half a pound of bacon that I'm going to cut into 2 chunks. The easiest way I find to cut the bacon is cut it in half, and then I like to cut it in half again the long ways, lengthwise. And then cut it into slices. So there's our bacon cut. The next thing we need to do is we need to prepare our sausage. You'll need a half a pound of breakfast sausage or Italian sausage. So this is my sausage and it's still in its casing. So what we need to do is take it out of its casing because we need crumbled sausage. It's very easy to do. You should just be able to peel it right off. And there you go. So I'll continue doing that with my sausage and we'll be back when we're ready to start cooking. Okay, so I've got my induction turned up to 500. I'm just going to wait just a minute. Just make sure that my pan is hot. And I'm going to add my bacon. And you want to cook your bacon until it's nice and crisp. Okay, I think I'm going to call that there. I'm going to use my spider, scoop out the bacon, and drain it on a piece of paper towel. So there's my bacon. I'm just going to set it aside. Now it's time to cook our sausage. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my pan off of the heat for just a minute. It seems a little warm and I don't want to add my sausage to this hot grease. I also have a little bit too much grease here. I am going to drain a little bit off. Okay, so now it's time to cook the sausage. I've gone ahead and just chopped it into smaller pieces. I do need to crumble this and it is easier to crumble if it's smaller. I also have 1 small onion that I've finely chopped. It'll go in with the sausage. So let's get cooking. I'm just going to let the sausage cook for just a minute. I'm going to turn the pan down a little bit and then I'm going to add my onion. So with the sausage in the pan, you can just give it a little chop through because what you're looking for is crumbled sausage. Change of plans. I'm going to use a fork. And now we'll add the onion. You want to let this cook until the sausage is no longer pink and the onion is cooked. Okay, so I would say that my sausage and onions are cooked. They don't look pink anymore. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to drain all the fat off of here and I'll be back as soon as I'm finished doing that. So there's my sausage and onion mixture done. We're just waiting for the potatoes. They should only be a couple more minutes. We'll be back when the potatoes are cooked. Okay, so my potatoes are cooked. It's time to mash them. So to my potatoes, I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of butter. This is 2 tablespoons. Half a cup of milk. Sorry, that was 1/4 of a cup of milk. And 1/4 of a cup of sour cream. Gonna give that a mash. And again, you can mash them to the consistency that you like. If you like super creamy, smooth mashed potatoes, mash them all the way. If you like a little bit of chunks in it, then you can leave some of the chunks here. I would say that's about the consistency that I like. I'm going to clean off my potato masher and just mix the rest of the stuff in. Using my spatula, I'm just going to give everything a mix. Now to my mixture, I'm going to add a little bit of pepper. I'm not going to add any salt because I find that with the bacon and the cheese, it will be salty enough. So now let's add our sausage mixture and some of our bacon. So I'm going to add all of the sausage. And I'm going to add all but a little bit of the bacon. I want to save a little bit for the top. I'll use that to sprinkle over the top. And here I have about 1.5 cups of cheese. I'm going to add 1 cup to my mixture. And again, I'm going to save about 1/2 cup for the top. And we'll give that a mix. Make sure you get it well mixed in. This mixture looks a lot like my double baked potato mixture. If you haven't seen that video, you can see it here. Okay, so that looks well mixed. It's time to transfer it to our loaf pan. I have a nice loaf pan here. I have sprayed it with some oil. You do want to grease it even if you have a non-stick pan, just to make sure that it doesn't stick to the bottom. So we're just going to dump it into our pan. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add the rest of the bacon. Just going to sprinkle that on top. And I'm going to add the rest of the cheese. There you go. Now I'm going to bake this for 20 to 25 minutes in my preheated 375-degree oven. We'll be back as soon as it's cooked. Okay, so our potato loaf is out of the oven. Now we're going to try and get it out of the pan. So it's still pretty hot. I'm going to see if it will flip over onto my cutting board. So unfortunately, it's a little softer than I would have liked. The next time I do this, I would cook it for a little bit longer. So I did cook it for the 25 minutes. I think the next time I would cook it for 30 minutes, just to make sure it got a nice crust all the way around. So let's give it a taste and see how it is. So good. You've got the breakfast sausage and the cheese, the onions. This is the perfect way to eat potatoes and meat. So that's it for this video. Hit the like button if you liked the video. Share it with all your friends. Hit the notification bell to notify you when we upload a new video. We upload every Friday. And don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. And leave a comment down below. What did you like about the video? Or better yet, what would you like to see us make next? And don't forget, first we cook, then we eat.